What if the truth you've been searching for wasn't hiding in your culture beliefs or behind media influences or religious world stage leaders, but quietly waiting within you? A whisper you were born with, a knowing you haven't lost, only forgotten. The world shouts and preys on fear, demands assurance, competing to tell you what to believe. But the truth that sets you free always speaks in a whisper. So my question, my friend, is, are you ready to remember? Welcome to EDH Inspired Ideas, where your journey of awakening truth and transformation begins. I'm your host, Ed Houston, and I'm a spiritual intuitive, a storyteller, a way shower. After decades inside organized religion, corporate America, and my own inner walls of fear, I've discovered a whisper that changed everything in my life. This is the Whisper Within series, the first of many soul journeys we'll travel together. Here, we listen beyond the noise, we trust the quiet call of our hearts, and we remember who we truly are. I want to thank you for choosing to be here. Your whisper brought you here. And now, let's begin. Today, I invite you to let me take you on a journey. The whisper that changed everything in my life. Not one of information, but of transformation. You see, this is not a sermon. This is not a doctrine. This is a story, a whisper that changed everything for me. And maybe it might stir something in you too. But before we dive into my story, let me share something important to you. The Whisper Within series is more than just a podcast. It's a sacred foundation of my backstory. It's a soul journey where I invite you to walk with me. You see, we go through the unraveling and the remembering. This series isn't about looking up there, out there for the truth. It's about discovering that everything you've been seeking has been quietly waiting within you all along. If you ever experienced trauma, been shaped by rigid teachings, or felt stuck in a web of external approval, I want you to know something very deeply what's true. You are not broken. You are not alone. Love, real love, is boundless. It meets you exactly where you are, no matter who you are or what you believe. Each episode builds upon the next, told not as sermons, but as stories. Stories meant to awaken, stir, and softly guide. I don't show you the way. I walk it with you as a storyteller and a way shower. And together, you might just discover what I did, that you were never lost. You were simply waiting for the right moment to remember. And maybe, just maybe, that moment is right now. To understand my truth, you must experience my journey. I was born and raised in a middle-class home in Denver, Colorado, in a loving Christian family. Our home was surrounded by aunts, uncles, and cousins, and they were all within walking distance. We were close. We were church-going. We were traditional. Then came a neighborhood friend of mine that I grew up with. He introduced me to a real charismatic version of Christianity. It was electrifying. And soon I was what they call saved. And I shared my new faith with my sister at the time, and she followed. And then we both started witnessing to the neighborhood kids. Oh my goodness, we were all on fire for Jesus. Like revival culture swept us into the moment. We felt so righteous, so thrilling, so alive. But my parents were like, they try to persuade us just to live an ordinary life. You can wait for that religious Christian stuff. Don't take it so seriously. But then came my teenage years. Oh boy, high school. And there was girls, music, dancing, new questions, new desires. And soon I drifted right out of church. But then I came back and I returned to a small startup church, and they gave me the title of Young Minister Houston. I was excited. I had responsibilities, tapes to sell and distribute, sermons to deliver. But over time, I began to see things that I couldn't unsee. And that's when the truth hit me. I wasn't in a church anymore. I was in a cult. It shattered me. But I found the courage to leave and to and someone that I cared for to help them too leave as well. So I pivoted. I was at 19 years old and I stood at the crossroads of my life. On one hand, there was the ministry path I wanted to pursue. I still love God. On the other side, there was this corporate business path, wanting to do something with my life. I was still so wounded with church and the whole situation. I chose the corporate path and I climbed a corporate ladder. It was an unparalleled success. I went from the copy room to the C-suite. I became an executive. In over a 20-year career, I helped build a billion-dollar company. I had the title, I had the perks. I even got to fly on the corporate jet. It was like the dream lifestyle. But in the quiet moments, I was still empty. I was disconnected. I had put God in the back seat. And though I wore the smile of success, my soul was whispering so much more. So I found in my later years, I returned to church. A fresh start, I said. I was on fire again. I even wrote a book about my journey as a Christian single around the world. I hit 5 continents and 19 countries. It was adventures across the pyramids of Egypt, the Great Wall of China. I bungee jumped in New Zealand, Machu Picchu, backpacking, hikes. It was so much fun. That fire led me to meet a pastor, and we got married and started a family. It felt like divine alignment. But eventually something was missing inside, and it began to shift slowly, deeply, and quietly. Soon the inner unravelings began to happen inside of me. I had all the things that I was thinking I needed in life that checked the boxes. But these memories started to stir inside of me. Memories of the great pyramids that I visited, the temples, all these places I had visited happened through dream time. Amazing stories. And then these deep questions began to bellow up out of me, emerge in my waking state. It was like, could my Christian doctrine really be real? Could it be the only truth? What about the billions of people all around the world? What about them? Would God condemn them all to sin forever for not subscribing to something that I believe? I tell you, I couldn't reconcile it. The God that I knew, loved, and I felt was too big, too wise for any of that. Then one day, I hit the moment that changed everything in my life. The whisper happened within. It happened in a corporate meeting room. My colleague, he was from India. He was on our team. He sat across from me from the conference table. He was a good man. I befriended him. And as the presenter was presenting the project spreadsheet, we were looking at all the numbers. I somehow got lost in a trance, looking at the big screen. My inner friend, I started thinking about him. I thought about the stories he shared with me, about his love for his family, his culture. And I was a first father, so we really had a bond. Then out of nowhere, a question just dropped, like right in my soul. It said, "You will soon be a father. Would you condemn your own son to hell just for believing differently?" The answer came quick. I was like, no, never. There's an intuitive knowing that flooded me. It was like, I would never do something like that, but something hit me inside. It was something ancient, something true. And suddenly I was crying inside. And I was trying to compose myself and hoping that no one would call on me. But motionless, I sat there, looked fixated, focused on the data. But I was having a spiritual awakening. A rush of emotion and a whisper echoed inside of me. It said, "My faith is now love. My faith is now love." No words, just knowing, just surrendered. That was the moment that everything changed. But it wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. You see, but with every whisper comes the letting go. To follow it, I had to release everything I thought was required to be accepted by God. The sermons I preached, the approval I chased, the identity I wore. Then came the fear. What would my wife think? My church member friends, my family? Would they say I've lost my mind? Did I fall into deception of some dark enemy? The truth is, love woke me up. But fear, true fear, was waiting for me at the door. All right, on my next episode, I'm going to take you inside that sacred unraveling, the inner reckoning that followed me. And the moment I realized that the cost of freedom is accepting that once you see the truth, oh, my friend, you can never choose to unsee it. It's going to be exciting. If today's journey spoke to something inside you, I invite you to go deeper within the whisper within, a journey back to you. We're offering a free companion guide I created just for these series. You'll find it located in the show notes below. It's a general offering for your own inner listening. And if you'd like to stay connected to the unfolding path, new soul journeys are always being born through EDH-inspired ideas. My upcoming book, Embrace Your Truth, Unleashing the Courage Within You, is also on the horizon. And I would love for you to be part of this unveiling. So please sign up for updates, offerings, and future series at edhouston.com. Until next time, trust your whisper.